So LLCs. LLCs is one of the newer kids on the block, I would say. We get calls all the time because there's a lot of misrepresentation out in the world around LLCs. The name alone makes you feel like it's powerful and it's stronger than most. You know, when people say, well, I want an LLC because I want a limited liability. I want a limited liability corporation. Well, let me correct some things for you. Number one, an LLC is not a corporation. It is organized. It has articles of organization, not articles of incorporation. And the C stands for company, limited liability company. And it was originally designed to be the perfect hybrid between a partnership and a corporation. So this is what it looked like. Partners would get into business with each other and they would sign a general partnership agreement. And you would say, oh, I'm in business with this person 50-50 and we're sharing and we're in this together. But the truth is that when you're in a general partnership, it's actually 100-100. So what does that mean? That means that if your partner takes out a loan for, I don't know, $1 million and skips town, the bank is not going to ask you for your half of it. They're going to ask you for the whole thing. So the liability is all on you. So the LLC was introduced to really limit the liability to the extent that you have ownership. So the ownership in an LLC is membership, it's not stock, which is why an LLC cannot go public. The LLC, though, is flexible, and this is why a lot of people love it. It's flexible because it can have different types of owners. So you could be a natural person and be the owner. You can be a company and be the owner. You could be another LLC and be the owner. You could be any type of structure and own membership inside the LLC. It's part of its flexibility. So going back to the partnership scenario, what's beautiful is that the LLC has this K1 pass through. So what does that mean? That means that whatever happens in it passes through to the owners. So if you're profitable and you made $100,000 in the year and you were 50-50 members in the LLC, then you would get a K1 for $50,000. The partner would get a K1 for $50,000. And then what would happen is that you would be responsible for paying taxes on your part. And so that's, again, the beauty of the LLC. It gives you that flexibility. Well, if you are a single member, meaning if you are the only owner and you say, Angel, I want to start an LLC, but it's just me. Well, naturally what happens at the federal level is you're disregarded. You're a single member LLC, and a lot of people don't realize it. They're rushing and they're wanting the protection. They're rushing and wanting the credit. They're rushing and wanting to be able to have this entity, have this separation, only to realize at the end of the year that the IRS has disregarded them and that they are actually not recognized as an entity at all on the federal level. And so that happens, and what happens is that it occurs where the activity of the business just shows up on your Schedule C. That's right. On your personal tax return, Schedule C is where all the activity shows up. So it doesn't even have its own tax return if you are the only owner. Well, how do you fix that? You have to change your tax classification. Well, if you go online or you start to look around, or you maybe even do the LLC yourself, you might not know. I get clients all the time that call me 2-3 years later. I started an LLC 2 years ago. And I'm like, great, send me your paperwork. And they'll say, well, I was the only owner. Well, and I'll ask them, did you ever change your classification? And they were like, no. So then everything landed on them, and the protection they wanted, the grooming they wanted, the building they wanted, all the things that they thought they were getting naturally wasn't there because they had the wrong classification. When you're dealing with an LLC, you want to make sure that you are talking to people that are informed and educated to give you the information of what is best for you. You can grow into it, you can leverage it, you can maneuver in it, but you want to know these pieces. Your LLC could actually be treated or taxed like a corporation. Your LLC could be treated or taxed like a small business corporation. It is one of the secret weapons of real estate investors. Could you imagine knowing if you were going to be profitable or lose money and then deciding ahead of time what your classification is going to be so that you could leverage your taxes? It's time out for you just kind of doing everything on your own or guessing along the way. The power is in the information. The power is in the team. It takes a consultant, an accountant, an attorney. It takes a team of people around you so that you can be informed to not only have the right answers, but ask the right questions. A lot of you might be there and you have an LLC and you're thinking, I'm building it, when in reality, it isn't separate from you. You could think, well, I'm grooming it or I'm growing it so that I can navigate through real estate or build this credit, but you haven't made it the right entity, the right classification. You haven't treated the structure the way that it needed to be so that it could benefit you. So the LLC is one of the most misunderstood entities because it naturally takes on the characteristics of its owners. One owner, single member disregarded. Two owners, two or more owners, partnership. Anything else you have to apply for. You have to make sure that you file for. And again, everyone isn't going to tell you that because they might not know it or might not understand it, or maybe you weren't able to communicate what your needs were so that they could direct you properly. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you have questions, we are here for you today. Give us a call, schedule some time, and one of our consultants are going to be on deck, just ready to schedule time with you to answer those questions, because we want to make sure that you have the right structure and that it's set up for you the right way. And we hope that you'll go with us so that it's set up the right way the first time.